Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, o buenas noches, y bienvenido o bienvenida a esta clase. Hello and welcome to today's class. So, if you want to learn Spanish faster than 99% of people, you only need to do three things: speak, focus on grammar, and keep showing up. It really is that simple. Now, it sounds easy and simple, but the reality is a ton of people who learn Spanish, 99% of people who learn Spanish, do everything except for speaking. And right now, you might be one of those people. You might say, oh, Nate, well, I have the apps and I've done the resources, but I just feel like I'm not progressing. The number one reason is because you are not speaking enough, plain and simple. When I look back at the YouTube videos that I started making back in 2020, I see that my Spanish has become much better since then. And the number one reason for that is simply because over the past 5 years, I've been speaking Spanish every single day. I'm speaking way more than I used to. So if you want to get ahead of everyone else, you just need to focus on speaking. That is the number one most important thing. Now, when it comes to speaking, you have different options, okay? So when it comes to free options, we have something like, sorry, the terrible underline. We have something like Tandem or Hello Talk, or you can go for a paid option, something like italki or Preply. Now, if you have the financial resources, I highly recommend that you go for italki or Preply. Personally, I like italki a bit more, but here's the thing. For whatever reason, when you pay attention. When you pay money, now you have skin in the game. Not to mention, when you pay someone and you tell them, hey, I'm going to show up on Monday at 7 p.m., then you're much more likely to show up because you don't want to look bad. However, with something more informal like Tandem or Hello Talk, it's probable that you might just not show up that much because you haven't paid, so you don't really care that much. And it's way more casual, so no one is saying, hey, I'm going to meet you at 6 p.m. Or even if they do say that, you might not feel very inclined, like, oh, I need to show up, because you haven't paid them for their time. So I recommend that if you have the resources and you have the time, invest in something like italki or Preply. Next, when it comes to grammar, do something for free like ChatGPT. And I think ChatGPT is an awesome supplement. It's not always correct, but it is fantastic, especially for a free resource. And then you have a paid resource like a grammar book. Barbara Breakseen is extremely popular on Amazon. Or you can get an online program, something like my Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. Obviously, I'm biased, but if you're interested, click the link in the video description and check it out. But don't skip over on the grammar. Now, here's why. Take a look at this, okay? We have something like ir plus a plus infinitive, which is what we call the informal future, okay? If you learn this extremely simple formula, now you will instantly be able to speak in the future tense. So if we take a look at our different conjugations here of ir in the present tense, we have voy, vas, va, vamos, and van. So yo voy, I go, tú vas, you go, él va, he goes, ella va, she goes, and usted va, you go. That's formal. Remember that tú is informal, usted is formal. Nosotros vamos, we go. Ellos van, they go. That can be only males, or that can be males and females. Ellas van, only females. And ustedes van, meaning you guys or you all go. Okay? So there you go. Now that's the I go, you go, he goes, and so on. And then all we need to do is plug and play with different verbs that we learn. So, for example, hablar, the AR verb meaning to speak, or comer, the ER verb meaning to eat, or vivir, the IR verb meaning to live. So, hablar, comer, vivir. Now, all we need to do is plug and play. So, for example, I could say something like, voy a hablar. I am going to speak. In this case, many times students will say that, Nate, aren't I saying to? Voy, I am going, to a hablar, to speak. Isn't it, I am going to speak? In this case, no. When we add the preposition a, that is going to mean to in this example. And hablar would just mean to speak. So, voy a hablar. I am going to speak. When it comes to the present indicative, so something like voy, vas, va, vamos, or van, if I say yo voy, it can mean I go, But it can also mean I am going. It can be something that's happening now or something that is going to happen in the near future. So, voy a hablar. I am going to speak. Or, voy a comer. I am going to eat. Or something like vivir. Let's do vas. Vas a vivir. Okay? You are going to live. So that is why you should never skip the grammar, because you can learn something as simple as this in under 5 minutes, and now you can speak in the future tense. In fact, 90% of the time, arguably more, in Latin America, we're going to use this informal future to speak in the future. You may have heard of what's called the simple future, something like hablaré, hablarás, hablará. Okay, I will speak, you will speak, he will speak. This is used much more commonly in Spain. Not to say that we don't use it in Mexico or other Latin American countries, because we do. However, 90 to 95% of the time, this is what you're going to see. Ir plus a plus infinitive, that informal future. So, vamos a bailar, vas a comer, so on and so forth. So now you have just learned how to speak in the future tense by learning a quick and easy formula. Many people who skip grammar end up missing these very basic ideas, which ends up costing them lots of time because they spend a lot of time learning and memorizing phrases instead of learning and memorizing formulas. That is going to be the key for fluency in Spanish. Memorize the formulas instead of just phrases, because with phrases you're going to get overwhelmed. You're going to think, how can I memorize all this? Whereas if you learn a basic formula like the informal future, ir plus a plus infinitive, now all you need to do is learn new verbs and plug and play. It's that simple. Bueno, muchas gracias por ver este video. If you'd like to learn more Spanish from me, click the link in the video description to check out our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. Our goal is to help you have a 10-minute conversation in Spanish in 90 days without feeling unconfident. So check it out by clicking the link in the video description. Muchas gracias. I hope this has helped, and I will see you in the next video. Hasta luego.